Okay, here is an article about NASA from my mom, Marilyn Arnold, back in 2004, August 24. NASA needs to concentrate on fewer projects because it doesn't have enough money to do what it wants to do. Trying to do too many things at once has caused safety problems. Priorities need to be rearranged so that the most reasonable possible goals are actually realized, because NASA can't do everything with a limited amount of money. With the current high federal deficit, it's unlikely that it will be able to get much more money from the federal budget. It is time to realize this fact and decide what can be accomplished with the money that is currently available. Some programs may need to be offered to the private sector or maybe the public sector for capitalism stuff. The government can only do so much. The smaller is better. We don't want taxes. The people must do the rest. The space program made headline news on the fatal winter day. The Columbia Space Shuttle was preparing to land on February 1, 2003 after a 16-day orbit. Mission Control in Houston noticed about 9 a.m. the sensors connected to the landing gear in the left wing were no longer sending back readings as the shuttle was traveling 12,500 miles per hour at 40 miles above the Earth. Burning pieces of the shuttle were making flashes in the East Texas sky. Soon people are finding pieces of the shuttle in their yards in Texas and other states. We clearly see from this disaster that NASA needs to concentrate on improving the space shuttle. Uh-oh, what's going on now? This did not have to happen. More money and effort should have been spent in making the shuttle safer. It's unfortunate. Many warnings. And it was ignored. 94 study. There are at least 30 shuttle flights. And NASA takes steps to prevent, foam chunks from falling from the external tank, striking those critical titles. And NASA decreased the shuttle workforce by nearly 1/3 between 1995 and 2000. So there was plenty of time to rescue the astronauts, but NASA did not pay attention to warnings. Kind of like Titanic. About 100 years ago, Columbia program manager Ronald McDonald, who resigned recently, admitted to NASA's been choosing to ignore. Forget about it. What difference does it make? Said Hillary Clinton. With Benghazi. Hot gases entered through the hole and melted Columbia. And, Sean O'Keefe claimed that NASA would have rescued Columbia if they knew that a serious problem had been detected. Oh, really? James O'Berg, an aerospace engineer who worked for 22 years at Johnson Space Center, has been informed that the Atlantic shuttle could have been launched in about 2 weeks with a minimum crew of 2, thus rescuing the shuttle crew of 7 members. NASA chose to look the other way. How many times do people look the other way? Shuttle already had been kept active past its expected service because NASA has not come up with technology for a ship that is reliable and less expensive. One improvement in safety could be accomplished by examining thermal sealing tiles, by an Australian Research Council. If the shuttle is going to continue being used till around the year 2020, a priority must be, to make it as safe as possible. One possible source for space shuttle funding is to get rid of the pork projects. The porky and the brain. One is pork, the other one is what? I don't know. NASA project has been damaged by adding extra line items. That takes funding away from more important matters. Perhaps many members of Congress vote for NASA because then they're allowed to, add pet projects to it. You know what I mean? The people of the United States who pay taxes are often tricked into funding these projects. Congress who adds the items, they're hiding in the involvement. Earmarks usually appear as fake lines items. Boom, 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 boom. Let's continue to page 4 of the National Report by Mother Marilyn Kathleen Morehead Arnold Mitchell Cunningham, whatever her name is, my mommy. She continues to write back in 2004 about NASA, some stuff. Additional money to pay for the earmarks often isn't enough. One expensive reason for using earmarks has been astrobiology. Astrospace biology, study of life in space, aliens, huh? I believe that this new science of astrobiology study nothing, because these, except for some small stuff that came from Earth, it was not really astrobiology. If it comes from Earth, then it's just Earth biology stuck in space. Unless if you're studying people in space, and that's astrobiology. Oh, am I being distracted? I'm supposed to read this. Let's continue. Something, this and that. Let's continue. Something, smart people say this and that. When NASA already doesn't have enough money, I don't think we should spend even more money, or it should, limit. You know what I'm saying? The government should encourage commercial space venture that could potentially reduce the need for tax dollars. Taxes should only be spent when absolutely necessary. Space tourism should be a long-term objective of private space endeavors and should be properly encouraged by government. Arr, said my mom. And the more the better. X Prize Foundation is offering $10 million to be the first entrepreneur. To the first entrepreneur who sends a craft capable of carrying 3 people at least 62 miles into space and back to Earth twice in a 2-week period. Dun 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 dun. Boom 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 boom. And there's some public demand for space vehicles. Since public opinion is often against the space program in general, only necessary and possible projects should be a priority. Priorities must be set ahead of time, otherwise, what are you gonna do? Today is 2018, February 1st. That's 2/1, second month of 2018, according to my computer. What am I looking at? Let's see. I'm Oatmeal Joeyarnoldvn. Let's see. reading something my mommy wrote. What's going on? Something, lots of money. Some people wonder if that is a reasonable estimate, because I don't know. Ronald Reagan made it our national goal, January 25th, 1984, to, what was it? For some kind of space station. The cost of the station went from $8 billion to more than $100 billion, as its design was altered more than 20 times. NASA has so many projects. It's going all over the place. Since the space shuttle is required to assemble International Space Station, a priority must be enough money to make it safe enough. Why are we required to assemble an International Space Station? What is that? Is that an NWO thing? What's going on here? We could choose to discontinue the space station and put at least some of the money into replacing the shuttle with the CEV Crew Exploration Vehicle, which is at least $64 billion. This is included in the project Constellation. This CEV is planned to be used when humans land on the moon around the year 2020. In the next 2 years, since it's 2018 right now. As a nation, we must be willing to decide what is important. What is important now? NASA should focus on parts of that gives the people of the United States the most immediate and useful benefits. It should concentrate on fewer projects and set aside others for later, in order to avoid overlooking safety details like it did with with Columbia. And we just don't want to pay. I don't want to pay. You don't want to pay. Tax dollars. Let's see what's going on here. I'm gonna give you a little bit of information. This was a report written by my mother, written from these other books. This is the work cited, and I like outer space. I do. Gotta go.